Hi, this is a tutorial for the Tubemap product from Web Labs. This is a brief tutorial, well not too brief, to get you up and running. There will be a newer version later on once the product is finalized and has been redesigned. So let's start. So as you can see the front page, very briefly, the products, when you build a Tubemap, you basically obviously have a map, and inside the map you'll have a number of journeys. Number of stops and navigator pages. So basically I'll come to that later and explain it more in detail. So first of all let's log in. Now I've created an account already, but what you can do now is you'll see here there's a button that says Google. You could register an account with the system, just go in, register, and if I click on register, fill out the form, it will say to you this account name exists, you know, the usual palaver. And then it'll ask you for some more details to create an account. But I'm going to go in here and I'm going to synchronize with my Google account. There will also be buttons for Facebook, Windows Live and Twitter. Well, maybe Twitter, I don't know about Twitter yet, but definitely Facebook and Windows Live, and also Active Directory logins. But let me click on the Google one because it takes a few seconds to get going. So I would suggest you just sync it with Facebook or Google. Once that's done, that would then give you a if you haven't already created for the first time, if you go in to click on private, it will bring you up with this user account page. Now obviously I've filled this in, so there's my details here, but just fill in them details. Not all of them is required, and then it'll allow you to get into the system. So let's start firstly by showing you the public page. So let's give an example of a map. Now there's a tutorial map here to give basically what I'm going to teach you now, but really this was put together to give you an overview of what a simple map. So as you can see, the blue line at the top, and you'll notice as I hover over these, the little window pops up and gives you some more details. That window is going to move around as time goes on, but again I'll come back to that later on. Also you'll notice on the YouTube one here, this is actually going to be a link to this video, funny enough. So if I can click on this and that will open up another window, will give you more details. Anyway, let's move on and actually create one, show you how all this works. So let's click on the private page. We're now in my display here. So what I want to do is, before I jump in, just to give you some idea of the kind of things you can do, if I find my rubbish map here, and it is, trust me, it's a rubbish map. However, to show you some complexities. Now, you'll see here there's a bunch of layers at the top. Now these are the journeys, as you can see, first journey, second journey, third journey. So if I click on first journey, all the others grey out, which means I can now move these around. And for example, we can start up here. If I double click on this one here, okay, it gives me a title. Now if it says default, the title disappears when you're viewing it. But if you go down to redirect URL, that's what's going to open up in the little window. Okay, and I'll show you that shortly. These are your objects. Obviously these little pictures here, or these are the objects you can use. There will be a lot more coming. There's only a few at the moment, so this is a normal circle, then you get small circles, arrows and so on. But you can also use pictures, as you'll see later on. Key thing is that you can build up, the idea is to build up a help guides, process management tools, workflow toolkits, graphically based. Very important, if you move these around, do this. If you go out of here, say you go into the next one, you'll lose a position in. So it is important to, once you've done your changes, to move them around to get your organization, is to do save. Okay, that's very important. And if you want to delete any, like you can see down here, you've got a delete button. Let's just delete the last one on it. Let's delete a couple of these off. Yeah, clear them out a little bit. And if I want to muck about and I want to actually add one on, I have to double click on the object I want to start from and then double click on the blank page, so then I get an extra one. It's important to understand that it will add it from the last one that you've created, or the one that you've just come from. So I'll double click on that number 14 default again, so you can see here default number 14. And then if I double click on a blank bit page, it goes from there. So you can build them and have multiple junctions. Okay. Right, now I think what we'll do is let's go and create one. So let's go back to private, and I'm going to create a map. So we're going to call this a motorcycle text. Don't know why it's meant to be test actually. Now I'm just going to create some objects to show you how this works. I'm going to have to put test description in here. I'm actually turning off the required for that. Width. Now it's hard coded. It's an actual size of screen at the moment, so bear that in mind. I will do a scalable version, but at the moment it makes more sense to do this. Tick public viewable, because we want public to be able to view it once it's finished without logging in. But you'll also, let's click on journeys. Sorry, what I actually missed saying there, at the top you'll see the published tick box. When you're finished with it, tick that, save changes to public. Then the public, because you've set public here, can view it. So basically it's published for people to view it. If that's turned off, it means they have to log in to view. Okay. Right, so let's now go to maps. Let's click on this and go to journeys. Now, I need to create a new journey for this, as I haven't got one at the moment. So I'll click on new journey. So we'll call this first journey. Won't bother with the tick box. Now, I'm doing this to show you how easy it is to create. Now, you have to press, see, then we've got an extra button up here, it says first journey. Either tick that or press the stops link here. But let's click that. So now we can add some objects. So I'm going to put one in there and call it start, and I'm going to have that as a right arrow and save the changes. And then I'm going to put another one, okay, and I'm going to make that a small circle and save, and then another one, small circle and save, and then another one, and this time we'll make that a triangle. Normal triangle, save changes. Now I can move these around. Now it's key thing, at the moment I don't have gridding on this, so there's no snap to. I'm going to put a snap to coordinates, hence the reason for having the, you'll see the XY positioning. So if you want to get these positioned just right, you've got the tool there to do that. And it's important to remember, save the positioning before you create another one. So let's create another journey, new journey. Let's call this the second journey, and we'll make this brown. Save changes, and again I'll start off with a triangle. Let's see, I've done it again. Press it. Well, let's press stops this time. You have to actually tell it you're in stops mode, so now you can see it's editing the stops. Double click, and we'll make this again the right arrow. How you do this is completely up to you. Let's get it there. But this time, so I'm saving that. So now this time I'm just going to put a whole load of these in. So literally you can just pop these. Now I'm actually double clicking on the empty space. That's important to understand. So now I've got a few in there, and I want to just tidy these up a little bit. So I'll put that there. Now I might decide actually what I want to do is, I've got these here, but I just want these two here. I want these to be just joins to make them look a bit tidy. So what I can do is I select empty join. Let's do that again. I tell you, let me reload that out again. Okay, right, edit stops. What I did was there, I clicked on the wrong one, so let's do that. Let me just organize these again, right. So I've got them, save. Now I double click on that one, default, so that's the one I want. Obviously at that time, last one, I was actually selecting 7. So let's click on this, save. And this one here, double click on that, and I'm going to make that an empty join. Now that's quite useful if you want to move things around objects and just change the angle of the shape without actually making it anything special. So now I can go in and I can move these around like that. So I've got these objects. Right, now let's save that and we'll create another journey. We'll call this new journey third. Third journey. And we'll make this one green. And then click on stops. So as you see, they all close out. and this time I'm just going to leave that, but I'm going to call this one bike journey. Bike journey. So I'm going to list a bunch of bikes that I've owned. Save. Okay, what I want to do is just remember, always save the positioning. So let's now put a couple on here, one on here, one on here. Now, what I do want to do is I'm going to call this. This can be my first bike. So if I double click on that, so I'm now editing it. Now I'm going to put in there Honda CX500. Okay, and I want to put in there. This was my first. Well, this was one of my first. It wasn't, but we'll put that in there. But I want to make this an image. So, but before, let me just save that changes. Now I've got that there. What I want to put something underneath. So I'm going to double click on that again. And in the subtitle, I'm going to put this was subtitle. I'm just going to put motorcycle just so you can see how this works. So you see now we've got Honda CX500 motorcycle above and below it. So you've got subtitle goes underneath, the title goes above. So let's save that now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find, so the next one I actually want a picture of my next bike. This time I want to make this a picture button. Okay, so I want to go and find a picture somewhere of my bike nowadays. Let's call that now. So in fact, what I will do, I'm going to go to here and I'm going to type. Now I'm going to find a picture of a GPZ 900. Here we go. Images. Click. And there you go. That's. I know if I want that image, I'm going to copy that image URL because what I want is the URL for an image. It could be an image, a document. Let's try that again, shall we? Copy image URL. There we go. So we'll cut that, and I want to replace it. If I double click on this here, that's opened up, and I select image via URL, and I paste in there that URL, and press save. So now it's replaced with a picture of my bike. Now, what I want to do is, I'm going to just to emphasize a point, I'm going to delete this last one. Okay. Right, and I'm going to edit this one. I'm just going to put on here GPZ 900. This will actually, at the moment, the titles disappear when you've got a picture. But I'm just going to put that there. I want to split this now. So I've actually got two bikes at the moment. So I've actually got two journeys. So what I want to do is I want to go back to, if I double click on Honda CX500 and start again and do another split, you see how I get this two. So I've got two journeys coming up, there's two options. So if you're in a workflow, you've got two options of the route you're going to follow. And for this one, I want to change this because I also have a second, spell this. Now, I'm doing this with images, okay, but these could be documents, it could be anything. So they're just links to a page. Okay, so that's very important to understand that. Okay, so if I copy image URL, let's just double check, make sure that's right. There goes another one. So if I double click on here, I can put in my KDX 200. Those who don't like motorbikes, forgive me for this. Right, so save that. Okay, so now I've got that information there. So basically, I can have the objects that are built in. I can have images. I can also, for example, I could find some data. I can put documents on these, or just general information. So if I double click on that, let's put in here, this was the bike. This is the bike I own now. Okay, and also what I want to do is actually want to go and find a page that tells me more information about it. So let's go back into here, Kawasaki GPZ 900 And if I click on that, visit page, here, real classic. Okay, so I can grab this information and I can put this in the redirect URL and save that. Okay, and let's do the same for the KDX. So all I'm doing is I'm linking web pages. Let's click on that, visit page. You know, that'll do. So I've got that, so I put it in there, save the changes. Now, what I'm going to do is I actually want to have a look at this now in the live view, because at the moment we're just in edit mode. So I'm going to go back to maps list and then get my motorcycle test and edit it. And I'm going to select publish and save changes. So now if I go to public, you can see here motorcycle test. I've got this information. There's KDX. This is the bike I own now. Okay, if I can either go over to here and click on the click to view, or I can double click and it will open up that page. So whilst this is showing pictures of my motorbikes, it could be anything. Now there is a third option here which I can link to something else. So let's say I want to link something to CX, but I don't want to have a single page. I don't want to have just go straight to a page. I want to build some information about it with more information. So we need to create a page in between the links, so you can put more links on one stop. Okay, so let's go in and do that now with the pages. So if I click on pages, right, you'll notice I've already created one here called information. So we're going to create a page like this. Okay, so you see I've already got one here. So let me just go in and edit that. So let's edit that page. Now I'm going to add another one. So I've got cool motorbike, etc., etc. But what I want to do is let's get rid of that option. And in business now, these titles here are predefined information. Okay, now this is, as you can see, this is for a client that's actually going to use this now. But let's just say for now we'll just have under training and research. I'll tell you what I will do. Let's just delete some of these because I'm not going to use them. Let's delete options. So these will not be seen. Okay, now if we do a custom system, you do get the option to create your own menu structure here. So you can see it says hidden, there's no item. So if I go to view, you see there's only one, training and research. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in here Honda CX 500 manuals, okay, workshop manual, and save. And then I want to add a couple more, so I'm just going to add item, for sale, CX 500s for sale. Okay, and actually let's just have two. Okay, so I've got that, and now I'm going to go and find some URLs. So I'm going to put some URLs. So let's go up into here, and we're going to rub that out. We're going to put under. As you can see, I'm doing this on the fly. What I'm trying to make the point is, here is that you're basically linking to the web. Okay, so here we can see Honda CX 500s for sale. So I'm going to cut that link. Okay. Honda CX 500s for sale. Classic bikes. So you could very simply now save the changes. Okay, and then we'll view that. So you can see two here. I've got, let's do the manual while we're here. Honda CX 500 manual. Oh, we've got one here, but that's interesting. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste that into there. Again, save changes. You will know it doesn't actually show that it's saved changes. It has saved changes, and I've got to put a message in there to say it saved changes. Right. So now let's go back to the view. So you can see you've got two documents in there. We can add as many of these as we like. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to now make this page appear. So if you see it says embed URL here, if I select that, see, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my journeys, my motorcycle test. Now you can see we've got here. If I open up Honda CX500, okay, and I put in the redirect URL page, okay, and save the changes. Okay, now you see it's highlighted with a circle. Yeah, that means there's actually information. So if I now go in and have a look at this in the view, if I now hover over these and nothing much is happening, if I hover over the two, it says Jeep 900 title, this is my code now, etc. Click to view. If I hover over this or double click on it, now opens up that page. We get more information, and I can click to download, and it'll load that into this page, into this little viewer page. Okay. Or I can have a look at the other one, bikes for sale, and you see it just pops it into. Now there will be settings so that you can actually have this open up in a separate window. For one reason, if for example in the on the tablets it doesn't work with iframes, so we need to go full screen. But hopefully that gives you a bit of a feel for it. So if we go back in and have a look at Tubemap tutorial, you can see how the map basically is giving me explanations. So log in to create Tubemap, you have to log in. So I'm giving me yourself the user information. They can just hover over these, just see what they've got to do. But it gives you a path. So if you're going to do content creation, okay, you need to follow this path, which takes you down, which is the account creation side of it. And then you're ready to start. You've got an account. So once you've got an account, you can then follow these journeys. Now you can jump anywhere you like on here, but obviously you need the first one you need is the map create. To do that, and it gives you brief explanations, and you can then once you've done your map, you can go and do the journeys, etc., etc. And once you got to the end, you finish with it, you publish it, it's ready to view, load it to your website, and then obviously Google will pick it up. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a brief understanding. And any more questions, contact us, and so I'll speak to you soon.